Hello, welcome to another weekly live stream. Thanks for joining me tonight as we try to work out the rest of the substance stuff. I think we'll make a pretty good dent in it if we can't get it done. I've done a lot this week, so it should be good. Down at the bottom there's a reminder, there's the link to the super secret test engine builds. The password is Dragon, as you can see. Hey, how's it going? So you can download that. There's also a link to the Discord where you can join and chat with the rest of your fellow Mythrunians who've joined the Discord. Usually a good time there. I want to thank the patrons. The list is dwindling, but I'm happy to still have you guys around. So thanks for being constant supporters and nudging me along in progress. It means a lot. It really does. Okay. So there's me. And again, the link is in the upper left if you forget what it was. And without further ado, let's get to the point where we can get started. And of course the live stream's on, so now my nose will itch. Okay. I think we're going to, let's see, let me close some windows. Oh yeah, over this past weekend I had a big party at my house because my youngest, did their summer theater program and they had the cast party here. And so I real quickly designed these benches because I needed more seating. I like Blender, it's a lot of fun. I'm going to close Blender. And then, so this is the fully built ones, which they turned out pretty good. Alright, so let's see. This is what we did last time. I did a bunch of stuff. So within the shaper, let's see. Like for given types, I can set up, if they're like sort of compound types, I can set up the different material amounts and add and remove stuff. And then I had written a bunch of scripts to sort of pre-populate a lot of this stuff. So if we go to grass, it knows it's both flora and dirt. And I just kind of arbitrarily picked like a 90 to 10% ratio for that. And now that I think about it, grass has multiple, I think there is another grass block somewhere. Dirt, 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 dirt. Glass, 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 leather, leather, leather. I really need to make a search function or a filter. Picking little bits of carrot out of my teeth. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is I did all this stuff, and so like, leaves show up as, flora of some percentage. Which is sort of like their relative density. Not really. I guess it's based on their shape. So like a wedge takes up less space than a cube, obviously. I thought there was a grass half block. But I don't know. Yeah, so I would have to like more carefully go through this list. Somewhere there's a grass half block because we can chop grass and end up with a half block. So that means somewhere there's a grass block type that doesn't have its mix set right, because if it's half, it's going to be, the grass is going to be more, relatively speaking. Okay, so anyway, I got all that done. I made it so you can add, remove, and you can renormalize the amounts and stuff based on the current volumes. And I went and fixed the volumes and the colliders for a bunch of block types that didn't have their colliders set right. The colliders sort of the shape they are. I'm picking bad examples. So like the roof, the thatch roof, these actually were not wedge colliders before, they were cubes, and so I fixed them to be wedges and then redid their thing and changed hay to flora and picked a ratio that looked reasonable for wood to thatch and so on. And then I exported all of the types. There's a script that goes through and dumps them out, and then I made, instead of, so in this, I've done all this, done that, done that. I've done this. I've done this, and we'll do this later. And later, and later. Because what we did was instead, I set up substance type config class. So basically in code, I can define what the defaults are. And those actually get saved out. Maybe I did. Update shaper tree. No, shaper was not updated. So, I mean, originally I thought that that shaper tool could read it in, and we could eventually have editors in there to edit this, substance table. But for now, I'm doing it in code because it's quicker, and it supports JSON, it supports serialization, so we're all good there. And so I did that, and so we are basically working on this tonight, which is to basically hook up materials and have the wand show theoretically how many of a block, because I'm not going to restrict it right now, but as you go collect materials, you'll bank them in the wand, and then it'll show you theoretically how many of different block types you could make based on sort of their substance recipe. For example, I have created a type you can't actually collect, but this mortar type, which is a certain percentage of sand, clay, and water, because clay is the stand-in for cement right now. And so, so if you go and collect ice blocks or snow, you collect water. If you collect dirt, you'll get some sandstone and clay. And I may change these ratios. These are just, I looked it up and I said, what ratio of dirt, and it's sand, silt, and clay. And I did stone as the sort of silt stand-in because it's basically really, really, really tiny minerals. Bottom line, if you collect dirt, you're basically picking up sandstone and clay. And if you collect ice, you're collecting water. And so you can use that to make mortar, which means you can make cobble if you have enough sand and mortar materials built up. So to the user, it may not actually look like this, right? But internally, this is how the resources break down. When you collect stuff, you're basically only collecting the base. Like if you picked up a cobble block with your wand, it's going to break it down to its base material. So it'll be some amount of stone and some amount of sand and clay and water. Although, this kind of bugs me a little bit just because once the mortar dries, there's no more water in it. But yeah, in fact, but I liked the idea. I'm going to leave it for now. I get wrapped around the axle and I jump down deep wells of research to figure out, how things really work in the world, and it doesn't matter. I kind of want to have these setups where ice is not really ice, it's water. Snow is not really snow, it's water. And give you the ability to collect those, even though you can't actually collect like real water yet. So, but these are set up different test scenarios. This is like 2 levels deep to get to the mortar. You got dirt, which shares a lot of the same things with mortar. Anyway, I also didn't really model wattle and daub correctly because we're using mortar as the daub, but that's okay. So this is what I set up right before we got started. I populated all these and gave them sort of default values, and I haven't filled in any of the hardness, toughness, density, friction stuff because nothing is using it yet. And until something is using it, I don't know what values they should be. I don't know what 0 and I don't know what 1 means, and if anything is ever 0 or 1, etc. But hardness is like if you bang something into it, how hard is it? Typical, hardness kind of more like, real mineral hardness. If you scratch something with a diamond, it scratches because diamond is harder, that kind of thing. Toughness is how it resists the impact. If you chop at it with a pickaxe how much stuff are you going to get out of it, or if it's under strain, is it going to break, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like how much it resists damage in a sense. Density is basically its mass relative to the cube size. And then friction is sort of the default friction. Obviously ice is going to be a very, very low friction, and maybe even negative friction, because negative friction will be supported. And then, something like sand has very high friction, that kind of thing. But I don't know what those values should be yet, because I'm not using them in anything. And friction's actually difficult, because if I make something very spiky in the direction of those spikes, it should have higher friction. And so it's very not just material based, but block based as well. All those will be worked out later. We're just trying to get the base in right now, basic stuff in right now. And as last time, we wired up the script, so we should be able to just jump in today and start working on the scripts. Doink, doink, doink. Which is why I hope maybe we'll make some pretty good progress. And because there is no way right now to collect black marble or white marble or any of the funkier kinds of stone, because I have partially put in some of the other stone types way, way back. I think the only stone type I'm missing right now is chalk. Because the terrain, the thing that renders the far terrain, I had to build out multiple colors of stone, when I developed that far terrain, because it has to summarize it as a certain color. And so I went ahead and mapped those out, and it supports a chalk rock type, but I haven't actually put that in the game yet. Can't 100% decide how I want it to look so that it doesn't just blend in with snow. Anyway, so we need this. Yeah, we're very choppy because we're on a live stream. So let's switch over to the build wand. Alright. So as we remember before, last week I hooked up the build wand so that when I suck up blocks, it executes a script, and we can see that down there it tells me what substance I picked up, cobble. So a good first step tonight would be to list the components of those. Maybe even compile like their amounts and stuff, which would be kind of cool. Yeah, we've got lots of frame lag because I think there's butterflies and stuff around. Yeah, a whole bunch in the woods over there. I can see one up there. There's one over here flying above the trees. Anyway, I think it's cool. Yeah, there's like two over here, in fact. Alright, let's not get distracted. Okay. Oops. Alright. So let us bring up... By the way, feel free to ask questions. I hope you all have had productive weeks on any of your creative projects. I have been happy to be able to work on Mythruna every day this week. I have like I had kind of almost a routine. Do day jobs to a certain time, take a nap, come back, and I didn't have to take anybody to rehearsals. Alright, so here's our test stuff, test collection where we're collecting the blocks. So like we could say if it mix each. So let's call this substance so we can keep track of the difference between let's call this ingredient. Did I spell ingredient correct? so let's, I think grass makes a pretty good example. So if we collect that, row. Oh, I'm an idiot. In fact, that probably, interesting. I thought that there we go. Alright. So I forgot, these substances that are on the block type are just names, basically. So we need to actually look up the real substance, or the substance type. Subtype import. Actually, that's already imported. I think we'll need that. Equals substance type index. I may have to turn off that frame lag, because that's crazy. We're not going to get any work done if we have to look at that the whole time. Yeah, so let me turn that off. So when I update next time, actually, we'll do this. Alright, so we'll turn that off for when if I have to restart, well at least, anyways, substance type, get substance name. Alright, so let's try that. Did it reload the script? Says it did. Alright. Finished 2 projects, wow. Nice. Yeah, so we are getting, Mark, okay, come on. We are getting an error. I've got a script error. Yeah, in my day job, I was working on, I mean, ironically, some things that kind of intersect my experience with graphics. Excuse me. But it's like I almost know too much to enjoy it. I think I changed it to find. Get string. No signature method get is applicable for arguments type substance name. Okay, I need to switch to name. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do it, guys. I gotta start over because substance name dot name. Okay. It was I'm porting code from some other part of the application that does polygon intersection, and I mean it's doing it in a GIS environment, but still, I know, having written many polygon intersection routines in my life, that there are certain edge cases and things you have to watch out for, and the existing code did not. And so like I was able to construct test cases where 2 polygons that do not intersect say they intersect, like they're not even close to each other, and it says they intersect and stuff like that. But it's like I mean, it's like fun. Nothing visual, unfortunately. It's like all in database queries kind of thing, but at least it's graphics related in a sense. But I know too much about it to have it be fun, because I know all of the little potential problems that come up. So I spent like 3 days writing unit tests. Okay, so we've got good time. Good time for a change. Okay, so now we'll... we should be not having... Yeah. Okay, so we get lots of lag. So let's do this. Yay! Check it out. Oh, we should do like this, and then I can move around like this. Hey, check it out. So sandstone and clay. And that's what we would have picked up if we had done that. So that's working. I need to multiply the amounts together. So let's... All right. So... so for each substance, yeah, my nose just starts itching as soon as we get into this. I got like a hair sticking out. All right. What I think I want to do is collect everything into, let's just call it parts because I don't want to have to type ingredient all the time. So for each substance, we want to know the base amount. We want to be smarter than this even. Because it's recursive, each of these ingredients could have other ingredients and so on. Like if I picked up cobble, it's going to go several levels deep. So we want something that traverses. So we will set find substances. We'll make a thing. It will take scale. Actually, let's flip this around. Substance type. No, we'll start at substance because that's what the ingredients are of the types. Substance, parent, double, scale. Alright, so then for each of these, if we have substance type equals should we just call this substance? Since it's already what I called it before. Itchy nose. Man, I hate this. It's like, I don't know what it is about wearing headphones. So that gets us the type. Let's go ahead and log what we're doing. Get the type. If type equals null, oops, log error, missing type. Okay. Yeah, I'll just do missing type for. Oops. Okay. Return. We want to return empty set. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, def results equals, and we will go through if type mix. If it has a mix, we'll use the mix, else results just gets that substance. Except for we want well, I haven't designed the counter yet, so we can use whatever we want. So let's just use the name. We'll just keep using substance as the dot add new substance. So we get substance name, and then I believe what we want is scale times substance dot amount. Okay, so that gets if there is no mix, and if there is a mix, then child scale will be substance dot amount times scale, and we results dot add all find substances, and we just gotta hope. Let's call it mixer. Let's call it child. Yeah. Child, comma, child scale. And we just hope that I don't create any kind of recursive loops. No. Let's not hope. Let's actually make sure. So if visited, if not visited dot add type, meaning we didn't add it to the set because we've already been here, log error loop detected in substance recursion at substance, return blah blah blah. So basically we'll stop right there. Stop right there. Gotta know right now. Alright. Okay. So we find all the substances and we add them to the results. And so parts here, we can do this. Oh wait, maybe we do want to. Nah, let's just log it. So find parts dot add all find substances. Substance. Substance. No, it has a amount already. We use that, so we'll do 1.0 and visited equals as set visited. The problem with recursive loops, even if you never expect them to happen, is when they do happen, they blow up catastrophically. So it's better to just not allow them. Okay, so we don't need any of that crap anymore because basically we get all the parts. And then we'll do parts each. Session echo ingredients. Yeah, just call it substances. And then for each one of these, alright, so that should do that. It reloaded it. Alright, so now, yeah, it's like the game thinks it's nighttime, but I've paused. It's weird. Okay, ingredients. I guess the game doesn't think it's nighttime. It just happened to generate a cricket. Oh, substance is true. That's not good. But we did get sandstone and clay. But something added a true. Find substances. Oh. It's amazing that it worked as well as it did, really. Alright, so if we put this back and take it away again. Hey, check it out. Alright. Okay, that's, yeah, we were missing the flora before. Okay. So we get a little bit of flora, a little bit of sand, a little bit of clay. If it was a regular dirt block, like this one, we wouldn't get the flora, right? So it's just the sandstone and clay. So let's take this away again. I want to check those amounts. So we get, yeah, so basically it just came across a baby rabbit today. Aw. One thing I really like about where I live is we get a lot of nature, in the sense that we get critters all in our backyard. We see rabbits all the time back there, the occasional fox. Our fence is tall enough we never see deer, but we do see deer wandering around our street all the time. And yeah, when I used to walk my dog at night, sometimes we would see coyotes, foxes a lot. We saw a lot of foxes just on, you know, suburban street. I think it's cool. And then the other night I was driving home and had to stop so that a raccoon could cross the road, which I think is really cool because raccoons used to be my favorite animal when I was a kid. There will probably be raccoons in Mythruna. They might have six limbs, but or something, but there will probably be raccoons in Mythruna. Oh, neat. Sounds like you've got some decent land where you are. All right. So we can collect substances. I mean, well, we can't collect them yet, but we can detect them. So we can. Let me see. Let's do something more complicated. Let's take a cobble. 7 acres, nice. I'm 0.42 here. When we originally bought our house in 1999 or whatever, I was shooting for half an acre at minimum, but 0.42 was as close as I could get. And you know, with my budget especially, I'm not rich or anything. Stone, sand, clay, water. Okay, so it did. It broke it down from the mortar. Neat. Okay. Awesome. Pretty cool. All right. So let's really quickly do the reverse of that, so that when we place a block, it tells us how much we should have. So this type, we want to look up the block type. Oops, BT equals block type index get type. Oops, type. And then we can, if not BT, log error, no type found for. This should literally never happen because the index is always set up to return at least the bad block, right? But it'll be defensive. So session echo breaking down BT name. All right. Or extracting. Yeah. Collecting substances for let's not like make too much game language. Okay. So we do that. Substances for cobble. All right. Oops. Okay. And so we can do a similar thing here. We ought to be able to just cut and paste this. And go like this. Like so. Okay. Alright, so if we remove one, we see all its parts. If we place one, we see all its parts. Okay. So one of them would add all that to our inventory. The other one would remove it from our inventory. So now we are ready for counters, and that requires actual code, so I got to shut the game down. Which is unfortunate. I like leaving it running. It's fun. So one thing I'm doing is there's going to be this intermediate phase where the game's going to be easy to cheat, right? Because one of the next kind of fetch quests is going to be not to fetch, you know, Lolith's or axe or whatever, but she wants, you know, 4 blue flowers or whatever, and so you'll go have to track down 4 blue flowers. Right now you can kind of cheat because the way this is going to be set up with the wand, all you, even if it had restrictions, all you would have to do is collect enough general flora to be able to place any flora block you wanted, and then you could just go pick the flowers. But so there's going to be this intermediate phase where you can kind of cheese the quests, but I think that's okay. We're not really turning on the game yet. We're just building all the parts. So my design says that the substance counter, yeah boy, things have changed a lot. Substance counter needs the target, so that's the wand that's going to hold it. The type, which I have as an int, which is okay. The count cannot be an int, cannot possibly be an int. What was I thinking? So alright. The other thing I want to do, and this I could have done while the game was running. So let's wire that up real quick. So the build wand calls this, but we want to maybe also call it oh, I don't know if this is true actually. This might not be handled by the client anymore. Oh. No, because it doesn't materially change the type. Okay. Select test select type call session selected index. No, just index. Session index, and then what we can do is over here, because I think I can change the name. We're going to test something because I need to know this actually. Substance test select type session type, and so yeah, we're going to do all of the same things. I should probably just button that up in its own call since I've now duplicated it 3 times. That is the magic. So let's call it find block type substances block type BT That's it. That's all I need, right? I can do this and this and this. And then return parts. Okay. All right, so let's run this real quick. I want to see if I can send back focus text. I want to be able to, when the player switches to a new block type, calculate how many of those they should be able to make, and then put that as the little number, like a little number underneath the block, so you can see how many theoretically you could make. It'd be nice if I can get this done in time, because I really like to start figuring out how we're going to generate like mineral zones in the ground and stuff. I think I like the idea of treating it kind of like caves, only instead of carving out air, we're injecting different types of rock and stuff. I don't really know how I'm going to handle intersections, but maybe that's will work itself out. Like if two types of cave overlap. Holy moly. I really have to get rid of this like there's some warning it's constantly pushing out. Anyway. Alright. See. Alright, so we did get a select type when we selected it. Yeah, so like bulk minerals, like in real life, you know, in the real world, you know, marble and stuff is in, you know, giant deposits. And so that I want to say it's going to work a lot like caves, in the sense that, you know, there's just big blobs of it that hang around and maybe some veins that connect them and so on and so forth. Precious metals and stuff like that will work differently. And certainly like gems and stuff will work way differently. But, you know, ores and things that don't grow in giant, you know, don't appear in giant multi-acre fields, they'll be done differently. But for things like marble and the different rock types, which I guess I could show you what I'm talking about. Well, did I place it? No, I didn't. So we've got the dark granite, which is one of the things that can actually appear on the surface of the world. It doesn't yet, but like it could. The FAR train supports it. So that's the dark granite. It only comes in cube form right now because it's not really a fully implemented material. The other one is, let's see, we've got dark granite and sandstone. So sandstone is another one, which I'll put down here. So, you know, it looks sufficiently different than dirt, but I guess maybe not in this light, but you'll have to trust me, it does. So we've got sandstone and, you know, the dark granite, and then I want to have a chalk. And these are all things that would appear, that could appear on the surface in the FAR train if you looked out, like you could see it. The terrain supports it. And so those will have to, like, that may be actually more complicated to do, or those would be caves that could come up above the surface. But for things like clay, these would be deposits that would tend to be right at the layer of rock and soil or rock and sand. So I believe I will form these kind of like caves are formed, but only near the surface. And so they might encroach, but I think in general they will always be underneath sand or dirt. Whereas these can poke out of the surface. Black marble and white marble would always be under at this point, because they don't have a way of being exposed. Although I suppose I could use what I use for dark granite for the black marble, and what I use for chalk for the white marble. And then you just wouldn't know what it was until you got close. I have to figure it out, but I do think it's going to be kind of like squashed caves with maybe some fractal randomization within there, so that it's not like a pure bubble, but like is filled with veins and stuff. Although for things like marble and stuff, it really should be kind of a pure bubble. Because marble, I don't know if you guys know this, but marble forms. I've looked this up, right? So marble forms from limestone that's been under immense pressure, and so that tends to happen over, you know, a large area over a large period of time. So I think they always kind of form in these huge, not bubbles necessarily, but that kind of thing, right? A very large connected area. Anyway, we're getting off track. So I wanted to see, yeah, so rolling the wheel does select the type, and so that's good. So my comment is lying to me. I'm going to go ahead and fix that comment now, because if you don't fix them when you find that they're lying to you, you will forget to fix them later. You already forgot to fix them later. So yeah, handled by the client right now. That's not lying to me. Calls select type. All right, so now I think I can look at test wand to see how it, where's the test wand? Rotate. Test wand, focus, test wand, blah, blah, blah. Object focus, self, string value. But there's a way to do both, right? Because the, maybe not. Let's look at the object wand. So when I rotate here, that's lame. Okay, so I can't actually do what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it. So what I was hoping was that I could do all of this on the server, meaning that when you switch to a block type, I tell the client what text to put underneath. Oh, sandstone. So yeah, but see, I thought maybe that I was telling it what to put underneath that block from the server, but it's actually the client that decides that. And if I could have done it all on the server, that meant I could have left the counters as server only, whereas now I'm going to have to make it so that the client can see them too. So yeah, so you have to be able to query yours, which means a hacker could query others. And anyway, it's not my preference, but I don't feel like adding a really that text probably should be controlled by the server, but I'm not going to implement that today. So that means we got a little teeny extra work, but that is what I actually had planned on my list when I wrote this. That's what this added to the client components list means. Anyway, so we got all that wired up. We know what we can do, but it just turns out to not be useful. All right. So now we go in here, and we make, let's pick something similar. Man, my neck is bothering me. I think no. I mean, I'll just pick one. Alright, substance counter .java. Okay. No, this is Mythruna specific, not open source. Mythruna any system, and yep, we want it to be persistent and an entity component, and we are going to want both of these things, certainly. And I know it has the target. Let's see, what else did I say? Target type count max. Yeah. Except for those should be doubles. So int type sure. All substances have an index, but we could also use the name. Alright, double amount, double max. Okay. Serialization. Let's see. What am I forgetting? There's so we want equals. We want hash code. We want it to string, and then just getters and some filters and whatnot. Okay. Substance counter int or entity ID target int type amount double max. Okay, so that's like the base constructor. Oops. And we're good. Okay. So isn't it fun to watch me write boilerplate? The more I think about typing fast for you guys, the worse I type. It's like if I don't think about it, I type plenty fast. Okay, we can ignore hash code and equals for the moment. So we're not going to be dumping these in a. Oh, I like spiders. I have a simple rule though. It's like if they stay out of my way, I ignore them because they're helping defend the house from other bugs. I'm all good. If they come down on a little thread in front of my face while I'm working, they go outside. I don't kill them. I kill a lot of other bugs in the house with a vengeance. Like I'll wrap them in a paper towel and flush them down the toilet, which I think is like a horrible way for a bug to go. But spiders, I will move outside. I won't kill them. Yeah, we used to have a big spider that lived out by the electric post in the yard. Like you had to watch out if you walked back there. It was like horror movie style spider web that just, it was really crazy walking around at night. And it seemed like he would take that down, or she, whatever, would take that down every day and rebuild it every night. And then I had one in my office up in the window up here. You guys can't see, but behind you there's a bunch of windows, right? And up in the top there, I had a spider, and I just let him live up there, and he would catch the stink beetles and stuff that made it through that little crack in the window up there. And it was like my own little National Geographic special. It was really cool. Watching him like spin it up and stuff. I don't mean to be misgendering the spider. I just don't know. Public double get amount. Return amount. Public double get max, return max. And for right now, I think max will always be infinity. I'm not going to put a limit on it for the moment. Excuse me. But I do need some filters. The client is going to, or the server or client is going to want to be able to grab all of the materials for a particular target. And so skin color was a bad example to use because it doesn't build in a filter. Like I started doing this thing, where I build in the component filters right into the class because it's just really super convenient to be able to query for things. So it's like one of the very common things we want to do is wrong bracket. We want to filter by target. So I could be able to grab all of the substances that the wand currently contains. All right. Had to get a good drink of Pepsi. Filters field equals substance counter dot class, and we want target. I think, it appears to be enough. Okay. And then from that, I think we're good. We can just keep track of. I don't think we need to look it up by type if we always pull and hold on to the full map. So I'm not going to add any of those, but we do need these are immutable objects. You can't change the fields, so you give them little factory methods to change the amount and stuff like that. So we can say double amount and return new substance counter target type amount max. We probably should, if amount is greater than max, row new is equal argument exception amount exceeds max. Just the code that's calling this should check, right? We should do better errors than that, but assuming that something does, forget, we'll at least avoid sticking bad data in the database by throwing an exception. All right, so that should be, and so then we need to add it to the client components. I think I was smart. Yep. What do we call it? Substance counter. Okay, so we added a new component. I think assuming that compiles, you know what? It just bugs me to not have hash code implemented, and I will never remember to go back and do that. Objects hash target. Oops. It's easy enough to do. And we can talk about it. So part of the reason I do this live stream is because you guys can all watch me work, and I get to talk with you guys, and that's all fun. But sometimes it's, I feel like somebody could learn something, right? So in this case, well, we can talk about equals methods, right? So if O equals this, we short circuit. They are the same instance. If O equals null, obviously that's false. Or if the class is not equal to this class, they have to be the exact same class or they aren't the same. And this is something that trips people up. They'll use instance of or something, and then what you end up with is a case where if you end up with a case where if A is like a superclass and B is a subclass, then A equals B would return true, but B equals A would not, and you've broken the contract of equals. So they have to be the exact same class. And if you do an instance of, you're setting yourself up for trouble. And then the other thing we could talk about is, let's see. All right, so I'm going to use objects equals for this case, even though I could technically, this is the pattern I usually use. And if I use the word other for the cast version, then I can cut and paste code from one thing to another. But technically for the entity ID, I could have just grabbed its ID and compared them numerically. But this also saves me if target happens to be null for some reason. Like maybe I have like a world counter or something anyway. So if they don't equal, we're not equal. And so here's the other thing. And I'm really surprised I haven't defined a global epsilon, but a lot of times it's sort of dependent on where you are and what you want to consider. So if you do one double equal another, you may get strange results depending on how that amount happens. So if you just did amount equals or not equals the other amount, you end up with weird cases where they both could be like essentially the same amount but not equal because the bits that represent those two double floating point values are different. Anyway, so what you'd usually do is subtract one from the other, and so if that's greater than epsilon, then they're not equal, right? If it's less than or equal to epsilon, you consider them equal. So in this case, if they're close enough, if they're within this, we'll consider them equal. So there's a little lesson for you. And we'll do the same thing with max. And it gets weird with nan, like it. So let's not like go too far there. But if like if any of these were the floating point version of nan, then of course nan minus any number is going to be nan also, and nan will never be greater than epsilon, so they're not equal. But even though both of them had nan minus nan is still nan, stuff like that. Infinity minus infinity is still infinity. Even they're both infinity. That's actually a problem. This one I will do max equals other max, because if I'm ever going to set max to infinity, I would want them to be equal. Is it? I actually don't know. Java does infinity equal infinity. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so infinity is equal to infinity. Good. But infinity minus infinity would have been infinity, and that would have been greater than epsilon, so that would have been... Anyway, we learned something, right? Even I learned something, or re-remembered something. I knew it was an issue, right? So that's the equals method. Let's make sure our stuff compiles, and then we should be able to kind of go... Oh, Dur, 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 dur. Alright. So we can change the amount. I think for now I don't need to change the max because you're never going to meet somebody who can up your max, and I think I'm going to set all the maxes to infinity for now. Or maybe I should set a max to make sure I'm testing that. And the Pepsi's gone. Alright, we're on water now, gang. Alright, so let's make sure the back end works. And then we'll worry about the little number in the... I'd hope to be further along, as usual, right? This is not new. The session, does the session have the object? Base API, who defines session? Oops. I think it's base objects API. Yeah, last week we went off on a sort of tangent on the scripting that Mythruna uses, and it has this whole like layer of stuff to make things easier, which is why I started making a Mythruna scripting document so I can keep track of all this. So the session is the action environment. The action environment should have the target. So activator's us. That's where we get this so we pass the action environment. Action environment should also have self. Yeah, self is the target. Okay. Alright. So we can get the object. That's what I wanted to know. And then for the object itself, the build wand is setting not the build wand. One of these guys is setting variables right on the... I think it's... Oh, that's setting variables on the type. Oh, env set. Test 1 focus, test 1 mode. Yeah. And the environment... env... env really a thing? That's what I called it? env? Yep, so I could abbreviate it. Nice! Okay, cool. And that's the action environment, so that's the session. So I could set variables on that, just like that. What I'm looking to do is whenever a block type is selected, I want to build the map of, or the list of... Anyway, we can run the game. I think I have all of the hooks that I need. I need to add spiders to Mythruna. Every game needs spiders. Every RPG needs spiders. Maybe you'll have like glass spiders or something. I'm trying to think of unique ways to make it unique to Mythruna, right? So what would make a Mythruna spider unique? And perhaps they could be some kind of glass or something. Should be cool. Kind of shiny and clear spiders. Oh, actually, I do have a spider already planned. Never mind. I don't think I've told you guys about this. I'm leaving it for a surprise. I forgot about that. Ooh, neat. Okay, we're waiting for everything to catch up. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So we're good. Now, what we want to do is when this tool is equipped. That is the thing. I really wanted to hook on equip. Unspidery-like? Invisible, non-existent spiders are... I am guessing someone doesn't like spiders. So what does grounded do to make their spiders unspidery-like? Yeah, I haven't really decided if Mythruna spiders are going to be player aggressive or not. At least not the spiders I've designed so far. But the problem is, like, for any reasonable sized spider that's worth mentioning in an RPG, right, it's going to be big enough that the player is a potential food source. But I kind of believe they'll only like care if you get caught in their web, but we'll see. So really I wanted to hook into on equip, but for now we will fake it till we make it. None of this is really hooked up for real anyway. So let's ha, nice. I mean, the plan for Mythruna is to implement a lot of these as modules. So you would have, like, you know, the way I have these different modules set up, like, what is the... How do I list the modules? Mods. Wow, what do you know? So, you know, there's this whole list of poop. There's this whole list of mods already, right? But to have that be some of these be runtime selectable, so you could disable them. So, like, if spiders were their own mod, then you could disable spiders and you would never have them in the game. I don't know how much, to what extent I'll be able to do that, but that way, basically, if you wanted creative mode, you could go turn off, you know, all of the RPG mods. So, all right. I think my spiders will be freaky too, but not probably in the way that you guys are talking about. Just, I have a surprise in mind. So, what was I doing? Oh yes, I got sidetracked. What a surprise that I got sidetracked. Alright, so we want to be able to get counters target. Actually, on some level, why bother? Return entity data, find entities. Or is it find entity IDs? See, I get rusty when I haven't done this in a while. We want to find entities. That's it. Yeah, okay. Find versus get. I got it. I got it. Find entities, target. And, oops. Yes. Oh, no, we wanted just a filter. Substance, counter, filter, target, substance, counter, class. Okay, so that should be able to get the current counters. So we'll just do this the slow way now. I'm not going to did I pause? I did not pause time. It was already the time it needed to be and I didn't pause it. Okay, so there we go. All right. I really wish I still had Pepsi, but not enough to put you guys on pause and walk over and get another one. So we will drink water. All right. I think we'll tie this to here for now, because this is where I would calculate how many you could make. So get counters. Get counters def counters equals get counters session target session wand. Let's look up the substance type. FST substance type index counter. Oops. Get counter dot get type. All right. That's going to be the unfortunate part, is having to do that reverse lookup. So let's consider do I want to store the name? Yeah. Yeah. Which means this would have been better to counter. Yeah, so entity data get strings. I'm trying to do things without having to restart the game because I know it's kind of a pain to watch me do that. So get strings. So I'm trying to do this manually instead of changing the class to. Okay. String ID. So rather than change the substance counter to B. To have these methods on it for us, we'll go ahead and yeah, so we don't need to look up the type now. Echo name okay. So if we had counters, we'd be able to see them, but we don't, so we can't. So yeah. Oh, okay, we apparently failed to compile. No such property target for class action environment. You are incorrect. I am nearly 100% sure action environment has a target. In fact, we looked. It has. Oh, it's the action context. Ooh. It's the context we want to pass. All right. Poop. Because that means I'm going to have to shut the game down. So now we can fix a bunch of things. Crap. Get type. Let's... boink. Boink, boink, boink. Boink, boink. Boink, boink, boink. Alright. Get type ID. Public string get type. Entity data ed. Let's cut and paste from one of these other ones. Like, object type info, maybe. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just do this. And then we will do okay, so now we've got string support built right in. Don't have to worry about that. And the reason I shut down was because we don't pass enough information. And so now I can also fix the onEquip. To call, first of all, so we want to call both context really should be self, but okay. Context. And then onEquip. Wait, we are on the build wand. Almost missed it. Hi. Hey, Max. Glad you could make it. We've still got a half hour left. I really wanted to get to generation. Oh, well. That's maybe this what I can work on this weekend to get excited about stuff. Okay, where's the onEquip for... Oh, this one doesn't have an onEquip. This does. Build wands is a base item. Test wand is a base item. So let's steal... Oh. Well, then I'm not going to wire it in today. If I've already got to build in a null check, I don't there's no reason to do that. Okay, so session context, hit type, session context, select a session context index. All right, and then we can go over to our test thing here. Session context. Session context. Only, maybe I don't. Maybe I want self. Context is weird, and I should stop using it. The game, they are supposed to mean the same thing, but they're not. Like, one's the action context and one's the actual entity ID, and all of the things that work on the entity ID are supposed to work on the context, but I have to remember to go and hook them up, whereas everything will always work on the entity ID because that's where I add it. You know, you can remove the reaction icon in the three dots menu, top right of the chat window. Oh. Oh. Oh, you are my hero, Max. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Love you guys. So yes, in the ellipsis menu. Alright, so we've got all of that wired up. Let's go back in. I don't think, well, famous last words. I think we'll be able to just continue editing scripts right now. I almost said some heroes don't wear capes, but Max might be wearing a cape right now for all I know. You should not assume whether someone is wearing a cape or not. You never really know. Of course, Edna Mode would tell you shouldn't wear a cape anyway, even if you are a superhero. No capes. Alright. We could see like a town off in the distance. Pause. Okay, back to the game. You know you're wearing pants? I have two funny stories about that I'm not even wearing pants. One is there's a local radio station back in the 90s that had like, you know, the morning drive, you know, couple guys, Don and Mike in the morning or whatever, and they would have people do these funny things. And one of them, they'd have people call in and they'd have them go through drive-thrus, and whenever the drive-thru person would ask them for their order, they were the only thing they were allowed to say was, "I'm not wearing pants." You know, "Hello, may I take your order?" "I'm not wearing any pants." "Okay, sir, but can I take your order?" "I'm not wearing any pants." Anyway, today me has a different perspective on that. It's like, please don't torture your fast food workers. Their job is hard enough already. But the other thing is, I used to work in one of my first software development jobs was a bunch of us. We all worked in like the same sort of medium-sized room behind these big desks arranged in different ways. And one of the guys I worked with, who was like classic for just saying things out loud that were hilarious. We were all sitting there working, and he was like, you know, if my desk was facing a different way, I could sit back here without wearing any pants and you guys wouldn't know. We're like, okay, thanks for the information. It was something to that effect. Yeah, good times. Kind of miss those old days. All right. What was I doing? Oh yes, developing software development. Let's get to it. Lots to do and short time to do it. Okay. So this should work now, and we shouldn't have to go through all this trouble. We should be able to say counter get type name entity data, and later I'll put a little convenience thing on that. Alright, so and it's not on context itself. So we should say self here. Alright, so now if I roll the mouse wheel, I should be able to, oops, we still get an error. Freak. It's an error I can fix in the script, caused by no such signature method static, find entities, applicable for types, field filter, class. Well then, what the heck is it? I'm doing something stupid. Okay, so first I'm gonna make it change so that it's red, so I can easily find it again. Gosh, between the live stream and find entities component filter class. I've done something dumb, and you guys have probably noticed it. And oh, man, that's what I did dumb. Capital E entity data versus, alright, so we should be able to rank. Okay, wand counters, there's none. Cool. That's actually kind of what I wanted. Okay. Alright, so let's, make a function get counter map, because we're going to do more with this. We're going to target. So we're going to do more with this. We're going to grab this. Let me just do this. Target each counter name get type name def result equals the map. Let's let them be sorted for now. Okay, so in this we'll put name counter. And we'll hope I never duplicated any. That's future Paul's problem. Hope we have no duplicates. Sorry, future Paul. Alright, so we have a counter map. So when we collect things, we want... Oh, well, for one thing, I made that nice method, and then I'm not using it. So I should be able to change this to find substances. Or find block type substances. Right. And we've just passed the BT. I think, right? That's all? Yep. Okay, so just in case I screwed something up, we'll leave it. Since I haven't committed any of this to source control. And so we want to get the counter map. Def counters equals get counter map self. Oh, we're doing this one first. I'll put it down here. Okay, so then for each, so this is when we're retrieving the block, and so we want to add all of these things to our counters. So we're going to go through parts.each part, and for each one of these, we're going to see if we already have a counter. Or existing, right? Existing equals counters that get part type name entity data. If existing, we do one thing, else we do another. So let's say collecting substances, and then we will put this and okay. So we have one. We're going to existing change amount. So if double new amount equals existing get amount plus part.amount. So I could just say amount here. I don't have to say get. So the new amount would be the current amount plus the part amount. If new amount is greater than existing max, new amount equals existing max. And then change amount, new amount. That's what I set it up as. Correct change amount. Is that what I called it? Oops, wrong one. Change amount. Yep. Okay. So basically, we replace the old one with the new one. Otherwise, existing equals new substance counter. And yeah, we don't have one that can create the name, so we're gonna have to I didn't put the other half of that type ID stuff in. Where is it? So like this part, to be able to create one. So we will do this, and then here it's called entity data. This is not type name. This is part dot name dot name. Part dot name dot name. And actually in here, we can just always say true. We're on the back end. And so substance counter, self ID, part.amount, and let's say you can never have more than 1,000 cubic meters of any particular material. Okay. So that should existing session updated should, and then we can just do Ooh. No. No. These are entity IDs. So entity counter equals entity dot substance counter. We have to it's indirect. And so then we actually want to put the entity in here. We probably could make a little class that held all of them, but this is safer. And so if existing oops. And then counter. So everywhere I have existing here, I need to put counter. And then we can say counter equals counter dot get change amount. And then we can say existing blop blop counter. And otherwise counter equals that, and then we want to put that into the counters just because I'm gonna reuse this code at some point. Part.name equals count equals, oh, it's going to be the new ID. Existing equals I actually have a method for creating entities that does more better stuff. Is it here or here? I bet it's over here. No, not there. Create entity. Okay, I do. So create entity counter, and we set it to existing, right? And then, so then we ought to be able to say existing substance counter. All right, what did I screw up? That's a lot of code to have written. Okay, so if we flip the blocks, we see that we have no counters. If I come and I take this away, I collect those materials. Oh, yeah, we got errors. We got errors. Uh-oh. Okay, where's that? That is on line 76. Line 76 is this. Oh yeah, because it's part now. That was like a dumb mistake. Okay. Let's put it back. Okay, and let's take it away again. Boink. Alright, so collecting. Alright, we started to collect and then we failed. Okay, come on, before that goes away. Okay. Alright, error running, stop, blah, 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 blah. Error running, closure action name. Okay. No signature of method, get type name on substance. Oh yes, of course. Who's calling it? Line 77, which is the very next line. At least we're not far away. Oh yeah. Part is substance. Yes, that's true. Ooh, yeah, what was I thinking? Name.name. Alright, so let's put it back. Take it away again. Boink. Alright, we still failed. Stop it from scrolling. No signature method empty set get is applicable for arguments type string. That's also on line 77. Apparently, I just cannot code tonight. Oh, counters. Should be a get counter map result. Return result. Alright, let's try again. Is it the... Oh, we failed again. Did we fail at a different place, though? That's the key. That's the key. Get at. Can I work on null object? Oh. Closure to call substance test line 79. Oops. Line 79. Oh, yes, of course. Okay, try again. Hey! Yes, of course, yes. You're not wrong. Okay, so here it says, there we go. We collected a little bit of flora. We collected a little bit of sand. Yep. We collected a little bit of stone. And we collected a little bit of clay. And so now, if I roll my middle mouse wheel, oh no. Oh no. Okay, but that's actually like, there's a error in my code. Closer action select type, blah blah blah, on class integer. Okay. Oh yes, no signature method, entity get type name. Oh yeah. So this code was not modified to deal with the fact that these are actually entities. In fact, I'm gonna change this to get the map. And then entry set dot each, and we'll say entry, and so then we'll say counter equals entry dot value substance counter, and then we will do that and do that. That should work. Okay, so let's roll the mouse wheel, see what happens. Boink. Hey! Check that out. We have materials we've collected. And so, if I come and I put this block back, because I didn't actually subtract them, right, and I do it again, and I do it a couple times, And then we go roll the mouse wheel. All right, now I've collected almost a cubic meter of clay, almost half a cubic meter of flora, and almost 1.5 of sand and stone, just by placing and picking up the block again. And obviously, when I place a block, I need to subtract those guys back out again. That's the next step. And we should have everything we need to do that. So let's do it, right? You guys with me? Guys with me for a few more minutes while we flip this upside down and do the reverse. Okay, so we get the counter map. And so when we're placing the block, we need to do backwards of what we just did. So let's just cut and paste this, because essentially we do the same thing, only if not existing, return. We don't have one, so we don't need to do it. And so the counter, 1, 2, 3, 4 is this. We subtract it. And if it's less than 0, we set to 0. Counter change amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we put it back in, and then we show that it's updated. So now placing a block should suck it back out of our wand. Alright, so let's see. If I place this, boink. So yep. So let's stack these so I know to remove them. Yep, it's taking it out. Yep. So so we need. I mean, obviously, if I'm displaying this to the user, I need to take care of these floating point errors, because that's really 0. So I keep it as floating point because there is no quantization that I could pick that's otherwise small enough to account for the various amounts of things, because of how fine-grained that they can be. So I thought about this, right? It's like, what would the minimum amount, if I want to do fixed point, what would the minimum amount of resolution be? And I just don't know that, because cobble is made up of stone and mortar, mortar is made up of water, sand, and clay, and so on and so forth. And this could go down some levels deep. And if I'm placing, you know, a cobblestone post that's already, you know, 1/4 of a block, that's that 1/4 of the, you know, stone, 1/4 of mortar, and so on and so forth. And so I don't know what to do. So the rounding errors have to be considered in here. And I just have to make sure that, like in that display where I just did, right? If I have to be sure that I round this to 0, but that I always round in the way that is most generous to the player, right? So if you are 0.00001 away from being able to place the block, you should be able to place the block, right? That kind of thing. Which means that probably someone will figure out some hack that, you know, you can collect some rare resource by placing 1,000 of these other blocks and whatever. I don't know, but I don't care about that. Yeah, like potentially, right? But I don't really care. Like, I think that the chances that those kind of exploits are going to exist anyway is super high. I don't know how long it was I played No Man's Sky before I figured out I could create essentially infinite amounts of this one resource, because the resource conversions were lopsided. and I was happy because it was a pain. It was a resource you needed for everything. And then they may have fixed this by now, but like I remember when I joined No Man's Sky and found out I could get like those big ship carriers and stuff as my ship. This is several years ago, and and you could build out the insides of this big, capital ship, right? And I put all of these material converter generators in there just so that I could run out, 400 units of this. I think it started with a C or something. It's some kind of element you needed to build all kinds of stuff, and so I spent like time just collecting the raw materials, and then you could use that to like convert it to this, and then multiply that out and get 4 times what you started with, that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. I didn't get to the point where trade was like a realistic thing for resources, but I did figure out that there was like you take a certain amount of this one element and then convert it back to its component parts and then do it again, and you get like 4 times what you had. It was a pain, but you could do it. It's like I remember this because I didn't have a notepad when I was figuring out all the resource conversions, and so I think I drew it on the back of a paper plate because I had a paper plate with me. Anyway, I haven't played No Man's Sky in several years. I'm worried that I'll get sucked into it again and I'm working on Mythruna. So, okay, so we've got um, resources. Yeah, so I just collected those blocks again, and so now I have clay. And so the next thing would be to, based on this, wow, that like the collection part was really, or the deduction part was really quick. So the next thing would be is based on the type. I should be able to tell you how many blocks you could make, right? And that's the math for that is not as straightforward as what we just did, right? So we've got the parts. Yeah, probably I do not have a PC that would run those, to be honest. Um, Probably my Windows 7 boxes would not run any games you have for Xbox. But I tell you what, I watch those Splattercat gaming videos, and I'm on the threshold of buying games so often. But I collect a lot of really interesting ideas. Like you guys who've waited, 2 hours into the live stream, you get this little bonus, right? You've watched this far. So I watched him play this thing. It's kind of like a tower defense thing. You've got, during the day you collect resources and you build your little walls and stuff. It's kind of like third-person Minecraft, right? You're flying above the map, kind of like you're up here, and you can, place blocks and buildings, and you have your little workers and your resource collections and things, and you build this thing, and then at night, all these bad creepy guys come and try to attack you, and you're trying to defend. You have archers, you can put them on the wall and stuff like that. Anyway, it's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic thing, and one of the things that it has is you have to build, one of the resources your guys need are oxygen, and so you build these oxygen extractors. And the higher you build them up, the more efficient they are. And like, what a cool idea. Then you have like these tall towers with some kind of collector. And I think that in Mythruna, that there'll be some kind of way to collect water out of the air, maybe some other resources that would require these tall towers to be built with a collector on there. And so you might find, is that what it's called, Cataclysmo? That sounds about right. Anyway, so you might find in the desert that there's some town out there that has these tall sandstone towers with some kind of apparatus in the top, and that's how they collect their water. I think that potentially that the modern Mithrunians don't build those necessarily, and so in the deserts you might find, because like they are not effective unless they're super high. I think in the desert you'll probably find that, if you find these sort of plateaus in the desert or, cliffs in the desert, you might find these ancient sandstone towers built on top that collect water and then have some kind of aqueduct that delivers it to the town. And that's why that town grew there, right? Because it was some kind of ancient site for, sort of the prehistoric Mythrunians that may have been lizard people or whatever. That's something you guys will have to figure out through the lore as you explore and as I implement the lore. But anyway, so I thought that's a really cool idea to have like some height-based kind of collection, and it means that there's an excuse for Mythruna to generate tall towers for things, which are stuff that can appear on the horizon even when you're down here. I think that's a cool idea. All right, let's see. Let me think of the math here. For every part of this particular block, we ought to be able to figure out how much we have, divide that by the number of parts. So it's going to be a loop like this, right? And so we figure out the min quantity equals, well, let's just say equals positive infinity. Yeah, right. So the min quantity is going to be, for each part, we look up how much of it we have, and if we don't have a particular resource, we already know that the min quantity we can make is 0, and we can exit. Otherwise, we can look up the counter. We can say, of those, equals the current amount we have divided by the amount we need. Right? And if that quantity, and it's got to be a whole number, yes. Whole number, and note I am not, even though I just talked about how I need to double check that it's not super close to 1 when I'm doing this. Actually, I can fix that. If we want to allow some slop, there we go. So that is the fudge factor. And so if the quantity is less than the min quantity, min quantity equals quantity. I could have picked something that was easier to type. Okay. Session echo quantity. How many of these blocks could I make? I could make this minis. This minis. All right. Did I get the math wrong? Let's see. How many grass blocks could I place right now? Boink. 4. That's right. I deleted 4. If I do this, I should be able to delete 5. Yep. Yay! Okay, so then how many cobble can I make? Select. I can make 0 cobble. What do I need to make cobble? Let's see. I need stone. I need at least 0.8 stone, and that's I have stone. I need sand. I have sand. Maybe I'm not looking at the right things. I'm not. Wait, what am I printing out here? I'm printing out how much stuff I have. and I'm printing out the parts. Okay, but I'm not there we go. Okay, so for cobble, I can make 0 of them because I need 0.8 stone, 0.12 sand. What am I missing? Clay. No. How much clay do I need? 0.9 clay. Wait, why are these the same? Oh, I'm presenting my substance counters. I'm not printing the right thing. Okay. I'm being dumb, guys. Sorry. So the parts will say the part should have 0.8, 0.12, 0.04. Water. Water's what I don't have. Okay. Ooh. Probably there should be water in the soil if I'm going to require it in the... I think I'm going to take that out, by the way. But for the moment, what we can do is place some ice. So we'll place some ice and we'll delete it again. And now I can make 1 ice. How much cobble can I make with that 1 block of ice I collected? 2. I can place 2 cobble before I run out of resources. Okay, so yeah, I'm probably going to take that water requirement out for now. You don't need water to make real mortar, but because water is a difficult resource to collect, I'm not going to require it just to place cobble. It was just something I wanted to test. Yeah, so pretty cool. I can make 0 of those because I don't have any wood. Let's go, well, I could place them anyway. So let's cheat again. Let's cheese ourselves out and suck up some wood blocks. Oh, I can't actually. I can place multiple wood blocks and suck them up, but if I place them, it subtracts my resources again. So now I have 4 wood. How much wattle and daub can I create? 5. Okay. Cool. So I am able to stretch my wood out a little, and I do have enough for clay. So cool. All right. So all of the mechanics are working. I need to modify the I can't point to it because can I do this? Oh, nope, see. I can't point to my mouse, but you'll see it, that W and D cube at the bottom. I want to put in parentheses how many of them I could make so that I don't have to do this garbage. But that's client-side code I need to change, and it's Java code, so it's a little more verbose than what we've been writing. But I think we've made good progress. Essentially, this is hooked up and ready to go. I need to move the code over to the actual build wand. I may still make it a separate module just so that it's easy to turn on and off. That's a problem for this weekend, not a problem for the live stream. So I should be able to collect some sandstone. Yep. So now I have sandstone. Should be able to collect some of this dark granite. Haha. So this weekend's chore, primarily what I'm going to be working on is finishing hooking this up, to the actual wand, making it maybe its own separate module, putting the UI bit so that it shows how many of these cubes we can make in little parentheses next to the W&D cube name. That's interesting. So I can make 5 of these. If I change the shape to one of the walls, I should be able to make 10. Yep. Yay, that's working. And then primarily this weekend I'm going to be working on probably a resource generation. If I don't get that maybe that'll be what we're working on next week. So maybe I'll at least set up the sort of the tooling I need to test the fractals without having to run the game and that stuff, so that if I get stuck, we'll be able to do. I like the shiny clay. So anyway, right now, yeah. So water blocks. Water is not blocks, so the wand does not work on water. Yeah. So all of you, in the upper left corner of this is the link to download the latest engine. You can also join the Discord if you're not already on the Discord. But I post frequent updates when I'm working on stuff to Discord, in the screenshots, the clips and screenshots or whatever. And so I sometimes post in my progress. It's just really easy to do. Occasionally, if I get something really cool looking, I'll post it to Twitter and Blue Sky. But yeah, water right now, you can't place or remove water with the build wand. It's not actually a block type. Water is separate. Eventually snow will be separate as well. It's a fluid, and fluids are kept track of separately from block types. So the wand doesn't work on them. So something will have to happen with that. And so right now, the only way you could collect water is by sucking up snow and ice blocks. And obviously I did ice because there's a lot more water in ice. 0.91 is the ratio of ice to block. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me this long, guys. I think I need to get some dinner because I'm about to fall over. Thanks for keeping the stream chat lively. If you are working on your own creative projects this week, I hope that you make good progress and have lots of good motivation and energy, and feel free to post about them on the Discord if there's something cool that we'd all be interested in. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining. Let me bring up the normal stuff to close it out, to say like, comment, and subscribe. It does matter. So thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for being a patron if you're a patron. And I will catch you guys next week. Speaking of patrons, one last thank you. And good night, everyone.